Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if it's your first time joining us, or welcome to whatever this is if I'm not posting this on YouTube. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Today I'm going to be reading the Declaration of Independence in Random Impressions. I have some off-screen assistants who are going to be naming impressions, ones on a list I gave them that I can do to attempt. And yeah, let's get started. Why don't you give me one?
Homer Simpson.
Alrighty. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation.
Grunkle Stan.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yzma.
That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government.
Kronk.
Laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
Anakin Skywalker.
Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes.
Plankton.
And accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed.
Lumpy Space Princess.
But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security.
Shaggy.
Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government.
Scooby. Mario.
All having in direct object to the establishment of absolute tyranny over the states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. Wahoo!
Owen Wilson.
He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good.
Donald Trump.
He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation, till his assent shall be obtained, and when so suspended, he is utterly neglected to attend to them.
John F. Kennedy.
He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only.
Snake.
He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of the public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures.
Boomhauer.
Mandingo resolve representing houses men won't repeatedly for Mandingo opposing mainly feminists and Dingo invasions of the rights of Dingo people.
John Lennon.
He has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise.
Paul McCartney.
The state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within.
George Harrison.
He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for the purpose of obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners,
Ringo Starr.
refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands.
R2-D2. C-3PO.
By refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers.
Stitch.
He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries.
Donald Duck.
I would like the magnitude of the
Mickey Mouse.
Oh, he has kept among us in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislatures.
Goofy.
He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. Yeah?
Mad Hatter.
He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution.
Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
And unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to the acts of pretended legislation.
Seuss.
We're quartering like large bodies of armed troops among us, dude.
Richard Nixon.
For protecting them by mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states.
Zach Brannigan.
For cutting off our trade with all parts of the world.
Piff.
For imposing taxes on us without our consent, sir.
Bob Belcher.
For depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury.
Linda Belcher.
For transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses.
Comic book guy.
For abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government. Worst government type ever.
Abe Simpson.
And enlarging its boundaries so as to render it once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies.
Mr. Burns.
For taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments.
Mr. Smithers.
For suspending our own legislatures and declaring them invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever, sir.
Dr. Zoidberg.
He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us.
Iago.
He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people.
Lone Trooper.
He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny.
Obi-Wan. Young.
Already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation.
Pinky.
He has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, Brian.
Rick Sanchez.
To become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands.
Jar Jar Binks.
He has excited domestic insurrections against Suiza, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers.
Morty Smith.
The merciless hideous savages whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions.
Bane.
In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury.
Batman.
A prince's character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant, is unfit to be the ruler of the free people.
Joker.
Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us.
Patrick Stewart.
We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured connections and correspondence.
Mario.
They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and consequentity.
Hank Hill.
We must therefore acquiesce in necessity, which denounces our separation and hold them, as we hold the rest of our mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends.
Skeletor.
We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that I'm about to run out of time, because this is on TikTok.
It's tiny, like, and comment.
And subscribe. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't make it through. I have like 13 seconds. Bye-bye. There was like just a little bit left. Hope you enjoyed.